Peace and Pan-Africanism. This is Dr. Umar Ifa Tunde coming to you live and direct, New York City, Ethiopian World Federation 2026 conference. The time has come for the lions to tell our own story, and this is the lion's voice.
Lion man, Empress man, and I you're universally unfold, be told. Blessed love, this is Etege Idama, and it's time for the lioness and the lions, for I voices and stories to be told. This is the lion's voice, Rastafari.
We're endorsing the lion's voice. Big up Kwasi. See?
Big up Kwasi.
It is time for the lion to tell our own story. Yes, sir.
There is a land far, far away. There is no night. There's only day. Look into the book of life. And you will see that there's a land far, far away. Kwasi, that there's a land far, far away. Speak lion. Let's speak lion.
Roar lion, roar every time.
I will never stop, hail the Most High. And I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, ya. Them fully guard up and them quick fi execute, ya. Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, ya. The one will laugh, I'm same one of the shooter. Watching them, this is Rasta Jai representing for the Lion Voice Network. This is the time when the lion gets to tell our own story. Haile Selassie.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dose. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
Yes, job people, this is Michael Shamai representing. I will say, hear the lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. Yeah. I shall lift up I eyes unto the hills from whence cometh I help. Them could never conquer the mountains, thousands of years and counting. Ethiopia rise again unto the world. now we are announcing. Them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. When the trumpet sound and the violence cease, how we say one go build up the cities. Well, them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. Rastafari crown as the Prince of Peace. Him tell the youths them fi build up them countries. Well, front to us a son was born and a child was given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called the Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Them call him Rastafari. When he was born, rain fall from sky. Them call him Rastafari. When he was grown, in airplanes he fly. They call him Rastafari. Lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Rastafari. Read the Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England or Cote d'Ivoire, no matter if you're brown or black like Qatar. Haile Selassie say fi end all tribal war. A time fi gather Mount Zion, fi drive solar car from the car straight to Zanzibar. Who we are, the sons of Rastafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Rastafari. When he was grown, in airplanes he fly. Then Rastafari. The lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Then Rastafari. We do everything.
iRoots Records, online shop for reggae and dub vinyl, CDs and Rastafari books. Rastafari owned and operated for over 15 years. We ship worldwide. We have many titles from Frontline Publications in stock. We have 50 plus Akabeka Midnight titles, which we believe is the most of any shop in the world. Special invite for the Lion Pride. Use code Lion's Voice and save 10% store-wide. If you spend $125 or more, the discount goes up to 15%. Visit us online at www.irootsrecords.com. The time has come.
In the haunting echoes of violence against women in St. Anne, Jamaica, a mysterious vigilante emerges. For the Woman Painted Purple unfurls a gripping narrative of empowerment, retribution, and the pursuit of justice. Brenda and her group sisters bond together in therapy over their common struggles, but soon their group becomes the subject of an investigation. As the vigilante's actions escalate, the relentless detective, Officer Woodley, races to unmask the mystifying figure. For the Woman Painted Purple is a pulse-pounding tale that explores the boundaries of justice, revenge, and the fighting spirit. This thrilling saga delves into the complexities of dealing with mental health, domestic abuse, and finding love after. Own your copy today. Visit www.devanigreen.com.
This is The Black Heart Man, Rastafari children's picture book with hand-painted illustrations and rhythmic storytelling. This is a journey you do not want to miss. We offer worldwide shipping, so order your copy today at www.degreerspaintbrush.com. Alternatively, you can order your copy from TikTok. If you are interested in stocking the book, please email us at degreerspaintbrush@gmail.com. Give thanks.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bonsu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of Lion Talk Live. Welcome to Lion Talk Live, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where The lions are telling our own story. Tonight, we have another powerful guest. We are ending our Pan-African History Month strong. We came in strong this month. Last strong, we had the legendary scholar Anthony Browder. If you have not seen that episode, comprehensive on his work on Kemet, his history, definitely go and check that out. We've had Mr. Michael Duncan of the UNIA, primary principle when you think about Pan-African organizations. Of course, you're going to think about Mr. Michael Duncan. That episode is doing well. Of course, we had charismatic Dr. Umar Johnson, that episode doing extremely well on the platform. The short form video on our Instagram is, I wouldn't say viral, but it's semi-viral. A lot of reasoning happening under that post. And I want to just take time to big up Dr. Umar. He shared two of the posts that we invited him to collaborate on. The brethren have over 1 million subscribers on his platform. So we give thanks, yes, we know he's a controversial figure, and we are Rastafari independent, non-aligned media, meaning if someone is doing work, if someone is giving a positive contribution, and I don't think Dr. Umar's positive contribution in terms of enlightening people, in terms of the information that he brings forward, yes, in the Pan-African sphere, we know about it, but we cannot take for granted the issues he highlights. So if you haven't seen that Dr. Umar Johnson episode, I would definitely say go check it out from a Rastafari perspective. Very airy. So we've been bringing forward some big guests. Tonight is no different. We have the newly elected international president of the Ethiopian World Federation as our guest tonight. And I know I am a recent member of the E.W.F. Local 12. Big up on my Local 12. Let me show you our shirt. Fundraising for Local 12. Big up all of the Local 12 family. Our good sister, Cheryl Murray Powell, she was the international president, and I want to just thank her because she also gave me the contact for the new president. And one of the things that makes me feel proud and feel good is when an organization can have a transfer of power that is not shrined in controversy or infighting. You have a smooth transition of leadership that shows a healthy organization. So I definitely want to big up Cheryl Murray Powell for the link to our guest tonight, the new president, who is not new to the position, and we're going to get into his history. We're going to introduce him to the global family. For those who don't know, this is one of the reasons that we have Rastafari international non-aligned media, because now we have a platform, the things that we care about, the UNIA, the E.W.F, all of these things. Now we have a platform to hear from the leadership and to know what's happening, because we know that this is redemption time. This is a time that we have been called, out of all the generations. We weren't there during the transatlantic slave trade. We weren't there during civil rights. The Most High made us manifest. And this time, seismic shifts happening on the international scene, the African continent rising, the commodity prices exploding, the dollar decreasing, so we're watching gold go through the roof. Where is the gold land? It's on the continent. We're watching the dollar, hyperinflation, and we're headed into something they call stagflation, which means that the dollar decrease while prices go up. That's on the way. So we are living in a perilous time. We're living in a time that war is spreading to the four corners of the earth at the same time. Some people talk about the rider on the pale horse, all of these things. We could talk about them biblically, if you want to go there. However, we also, I think, by this time realize that no one is coming to save black people. People always ask, why are you just focusing on black people or people of African descent? On the platform, we have Rastafari from all nations. However, life has taught I that no one is coming to save the black people of the world. And I'm a black man. My mother's a black woman. My father's a black man. So naturally, self-preservation is key. And that don't mean that we're anti anyone. We love all of humanity. But I always use the plain analogy: before you can help anyone, you got to put on your own gas mask and save yourself, and then you can help everyone. So until black people get our house in order, we can't be focusing on, we don't have that luxury. And there has to be media that caters to I and I, because there's media that caters to every type of demographic. I didn't see any that was catering to the Pan-African root of Rastafari. So we created it here. And I want to just take time to big up the greatest online community on the planet. I'm biased, but the item are the greatest. Our live chat, the caliber of comments, the joy, the love, the warmth. Yes, we have man that come in and try put in a division from time to time, but they don't even last long because the love in the comments, the positivity and love. If you're new to the platform, you're watching for the first time, love doesn't mean that this is a yes man factory. It means we disagree, we agree to disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable. You know what I mean? We don't hate a man because he has an alternate point. You state your facts, you cite your sources, and we move on. You know what I mean? Tomorrow's another day. So I want to just big up the comment section. We're headed to the end of the month, so we're pushing. I'm hoping that we can raise $200 for the channel tonight. I'm asking 20 people to put in a $10 attribution if you can, super chat tonight. We're gonna try to, we don't want to go down. We had a very good month in July in terms of the super chat, so I don't want to go down. This you know what I mean? We're going like this. We riding on the King's Highway. And of course, the goal, this is a family business. The goal is to be full-time, to build out the media apparatus on a crowdfunding model. And we're going to do that with the IDEM strength, and we're going to do it together. I also want to just acknowledge before we bring forward our guests, we have another nominee, a nominee for the hold on one second there. Let me remove the guest here. Let me do this. Anytime you see me struggling, my wife is not here with me. We have Highly Traits that we are our latest Community Works grant nominee. If you're new here, every month we give away a stipend, $100 US, to one of our community workers. Our monthly subscribers vote on the grant awardee in our monthly town hall meeting. So if you want to join our community, you can join by going to Patreon. I'll have that information on the screen for those who want to be part of our community. We have monthly meetings, help to shape the content, as well as, just being part of the Lion Pride. You can help to shape the content You can also become an Ubuntu Lion Pride member. This is a lifetime member. That's $100 US contribution to the platform, and you become part of our Ubuntu Lion Pride immortalized. As long as we are here, that Ubuntu list will continue. So if you are interested, we'll do that. Haile Traits was nominated based on the work that he's doing in Trenchtown in their agricultural project, and also his advocacy. He was advocating for the Haile Selassie High School. If you have not seen that episode with Haile Traits, the brethren had a life-threatening accident, nearly died, and has come forward stronger than ever. So we want to just support the brother, make sure that you know what I mean, we do whatever we can, because the Almighty doesn't just spare people by accident. You know that the Almighty has him marked for great work. So we have 3 nominees now. We have Empress Janana of the Atlanta Naya Bingi House. We have Raswida Maya in South Florida, and now we have Haile Trade in Jamaica. This is going to be an interesting month in our town hall meeting, and I'll have more information. We're going to be pushing the town hall meeting into September because we have to do some travel. This Sunday, I will be hosting my good brother here in Washington, D.C. Bingi Sean is doing his book and documentary tour. Manners will take you places money won't. Big move my brother is doing. So all my Washington D.C. family, make sure the item are in the place. We're gonna take it forward to the old times, Sankofa. We've done so many events there. This is gonna be one of them classic moments. So if you're in the DMV or anywhere in the area, Sankofa this Sunday, it's gonna be epic. Looking forward. Also, we are going to be running advertisements for the Global Rastafari Conference. Newest nonprofit, Empress Janana, is doing some powerful work. They have a conference coming up, and they have coronation event coming up. So look out, they are going to be advertising with us. And if you have an event, no matter where on the globe, reach out to us, advertise with your media. This is part of how we monetize the channel and make it make sense. Our vision is not to continue from our home office, but to be able to build a production studio and to really take Rastafari media to that next level. So we're building it together from scratch. A lot of the items have been with us since before 500 subscribers. We're over 81,000 subscribers strong right now. We're getting ready to touch 7,000 watch hours in the last 28 days. 7,000 hours of content people watching. So it's not just people subscribing, but people are watching the content. And I just want to say gratitude to the global family for being on this journey. So again, tonight we're trying to pass that $200 mark. We need 20 people, $10 super chat, 40 people, $5 super chat. Make we work that muscle. And then also I'm going to ask my guest tonight if he has any endeavors. And you know, we ask the Global Lion Pride support the guests. I have a vision. If 50,000 of our subscribers, the Lion Pride, I'm not talking to the casual people who just pass the channel. If 50,000 of us as the Lion Pride give $10 to our guests, that guest wakes up with 500,000 US dollars in their account in the morning. I think we can do it. I'm going to keep on chanting until it happens. And if 1,000 support whatever the guest comes with, that's fine. You know, we start where we start, but the vision is to harness the collective strength to fund our operation, because as Pan-African people, no one is coming to save us. Every Miko, Meka Moko, one cocoa full basket. These are the strategies that we are employing. None of us have access to massive capital. All of us have access to a $5, a $10, a $20, and we're spending it in the system, and it's just floating in the breeze. So we're just saying, feed the ecosystem. If you don't love my content, find another content creator and do the same principle. The principle is, don't just watch the Armageddon unfold. Don't just watch Babylon fall and you're passive. Become a part of the solution. And that means we have to put capital in the hands of the workers. I'm not going to stop saying it. Capital in the hands of the workers. All right. So, housekeeping out of the way. Big up all of our sponsors. The Griots Paintbrush. Big up Sister Davani Green. Big up iRoots Records. Make sure you're supporting our sponsors as well. Feed the ecosystem. Let them feel the love and the strength. Circulate the Rastafari and Pan-African dollar. And let us grow strong together. I think we can do it. I know we can do it. So that being said, I'm going to bring forward our guest. Our guest, again, is the newly elected president of the Ethiopian World Federation. He is an entrepreneur, businessman, and someone that we are honored to have on our platform. Put some love in the chat. Also, let us know where you're watching from. Put some love in the chat for Dr. Winborne. Royal greetings, Dr. Winborne.
Greetings, my brother. Honored to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have you here as our newly elected president of the Ethiopian World Federation, an organization that lives in our heart. But before we get to this massive achievement, global achievement that you have accomplished, we have a tradition here on the Lion Talk Live program. I'm going to ask the eye if you can step into our Lion Talk time machine and to take us to the moment of your birth. Take us, I want you to picture this like a blockbuster biographic film. I want you to paint the picture of who is Dr. J.W. Winborne. Where was he born? What was it like going to school as a young man? What was life like, and your journey to Pan-African consciousness?
Well, let me start by saying we give honor to His Majesty Haile Selassie and for the work that he's done, and Dr. Bam and the work that he's done, and their wives, and we appreciate what they have laid out for us. For me, if I was to go back, well, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Grew up in the Brooklyn school system.
Okay.
In Brooklyn at Boys High. Some of y'all, if you're from the Brooklyn area, you're familiar with Boys High School.
Yes.
In Memphis-Stuyvesant. And those were my training grounds. I grew up also in the Pentecostal church.
Okay.
That's where I got my training. I was a young man in the ministry. I got ordained. I preached my initial sermon at the age of 15.
Okay.
I was ordained as an elder and pastor of the church at the age of 21. I pastored the Tabernacle of Prayer for All People in Newark, New Jersey. I was also the dean of the Bible school. I hold a doctor's degree in religious education. I'm in the doctoral program at the University of Metaphysics. I have a master's in metaphysics. And I've tried to take all of that learning and all of that, those experiences coming up and apply them to where we are today and look at everything as an experience and information that's an ingredients that's been put into a bowl to kind of make me who I am today. I'm a businessman. I've had several businesses. I have Project Neo. We started the Loan America, which is a mortgage brokerage firm. where we were doing $8-9 million a month in
Okay.
mortgage loans during the time of the crash.
Okay. Okay.
The
Okay.
crash. And so when we had,
Hold on. Stick a pin, because we gotta slow it down here. My audience, we like to bubble the pot.
okay,
We like to season it slowly, cut up the onions, put the garlic, a little bit of avocado oil, let it simmer. So I want, what year were you born? Because I want to get into Brooklyn, what it was like for you growing up in Brooklyn, in the Brooklyn school system. What year were you born?
I was born in 1961.
This is what I'm getting to, because I want to know what was the racial dynamics growing up in Brooklyn as a child. What was Brooklyn like in the 60s and the 70s? What was the racial makeup of Brooklyn? What was your high school like? What was the paint that picture?
So the racial mix up in Brooklyn when I was coming up in the 60s and 70s, it was like 90%, maybe 80 to 90% black.
Okay.
In my neighborhood, I grew up, I was in East New York. East New York is kind of mixed between black Puerto Ricans and the Italians and a small Jewish section. Um, so that was some of my experience. In my school, my high school, we may have had, Ross, um, 5 white teachers
Okay.
in my school. So I grew up uh, with a black consciousness most of my life, just being appreciative, even without understanding the full effect of who I was and what it meant to be black, or what it meant to be African American, or
Yes,
what it meant to
yes.
be Black American, or whatever they decide to call us at whatever time they decide to call us. Right?
We're gonna get into that later. We're gonna get into that part later, because I'm interested. Where are your parents from? I neglected to get the roots. Your roots. Where are your
Mhm.
parents from?
My parents are, well. My mother is also from Brooklyn.
Okay.
My grandparents are from Virginia,
Okay. That's where I was gonna get. What part of Virginia?
Richmond.
Richmond. Okay. So in the
They
South.
in the South,
So,
right?
so did they ever share with you what it was like for them growing up? Because I noticed that generation, a lot of times they weren't very talkative about what they experienced. Did you hear about their journey in Richmond, Virginia? Because that would have been, the 30s, 40s. That would have been some serious time that they were treading through those places. Did you get any of those stories?
You know what? We really didn't get any of those stories. So, my family was a Christian, conservative, black family
Okay.
that was kind of willing to turn their head and look the other way when things didn't go exactly how we wanted them to go. Uh, I grew up worshiping, like most of us, a white Jesus.
Hmm.
So if you grew up in the 60s and 70s, in most houses, there was always this picture of Martin Luther King on one side and JFK on the other side, and a picture of this white Jesus in the middle.
Wow.
That that was kind of like in most of the homes when you went into during that time. That's
Okay.
what you saw. That
That
was
was
the
that was the American Trinity.
That was the American Trinity. It wasn't until the 80s until some of the scholars begin to come to the revelation and understanding that this Jesus that they've been telling us about had to be one of color. So I lived through that transition, um, moving from that old consciousness to this new consciousness. The trouble that most people have is that when you come into something that's contrary to what you already know,
Yes.
that's contrary to your belief system, and you're understanding now, or you're getting information now that's questioning your foundational principles that you build your whole life on.
Yes.
It makes you question, and there's a natural instinct to back up off of that, because we have what I call a micronancer in our mind that's kind of like a software, a virus protection that don't allow or blocks new information from coming in. and a lot of us are dealing with that. A lot of us are dealing with that today. So, we're in this transition period. Also, I heard you say something about being in the '60s and about what it was like then and what it was like now. What it's
Yeah.
like now, you have to ask yourself, with everything that the world has been through, with the things that we've seen slavery, we've seen lynching, we've seen Jim Crow, we've seen the black laws, we've seen the vagrant laws, and we've lived through that, and we're in a position now where we can look up and see the things that we've heard for so long about Babylon falling,
Yes.
and we see it happening all around us.
Yes.
Your question have to be, why am I here now?
Yes.
What is my purpose now? What am
Yes.
I supposed to do now that I see all of these things that's going on? Am I to just look at it and talk about what's going on?
Exactly.
Am I supposed to just turn my head away and get uh uh and jump all into the Atlantic Housewives or the Housewives of Beverly Hills
Weapons
or
of mass distraction.
weapons of mass distraction? Absolutely. It's done like that on purpose. I mean, they call it a program for a reason,
Yes. Yes.
right? They have it come through on a channel for a reason.
Yes.
And so you need to understand, we need to understand that there are things that have been set up to distract us. There's been things that have been set up to kind of keep us domiciled and just unaware of what's going on. But you can only keep the lid on things, but for so long.
That's it. I want to ask you, as a child coming up in the church, what was your understanding of Yeshua, who, of course, you would have called Jesus at that time? What was your, in terms of your cosmology and how you were seeing the divinity? How were you look, or was it just more of a cultural thing? I'm going because my parents are Christian and this is what's expected, or did you understand the significance spiritually as a young
Yeah,
man?
yes, Ross, I understood the significance. I
Okay.
happened to be one that was in love with the Bible
Okay.
as a young man. And I felt blessed that I had the biblical understanding that I did. And I felt like I had an advantage over my friends because they was all worshiping some false god,
Okay.
right? And case in point, so in the late 70s, right? 74, 75, going to 76, there started to be another movement come out called the 5%er movement,
Yes, I remember.
right? And in Brooklyn, a lot of my friends, right,
Yes.
became 5%ers.
Yes. Speak on it. Speak on it.
And I never forget, we used to meet as kids in the park every Saturday, go play basketball. Me and my
Stick a pin before you get into that. Just explain, because we have a global audience. When you say
Mhm.
5%ers, just give a kind of little overview of their doctrine, because if you didn't grow up in America, you might not know what 5%er is.
is okay. So 5% is the offspring from the Muslim uh, way of life,
Yes.
offspring from the Muslim religion, for lack of
Yes.
a better term. And they have some basic principles, but in those principles, they're taught that the black man is God, the black man is the original man, and that the white man is the devil. That's the basics of just in general. They had
Yes.
today's mathematics, and they used to have these lesson sheets.
Yes.
And I saw some of my friends who I went to school with, who I knew were dummies, but they knew every word in those lesson sheets,
Yes. Yes.
right? And so that was amazing to me that they had taken time out to learn and study those lesson sheets. And I never forget. I remember walking away thinking how blessed I was, how grateful I was that I had the truth and that I wasn't confused and that I had the absolute truth of in my understanding. only to find out, Ross, years later, is that a lot of things I was not absolute, but well, absolutely wrong.
Yes, yes,
But that takes waking up, that takes coming to an understanding, that takes being able to look at information for what it is and be able to apply it to your life and not stick to remedial apologetics as to this is my team, I'm going with this team, no matter what, right? And that my understanding may supersede what I have learned in my past. And
yes,
so I need to take this knowledge that I have now and make it applicable to my life. And also, as a minister, as a young evangelist, when you come into information, you still have a responsibility to share that information, even if that information may be contrary, even if that information may be against what we call known truths. But you have to be willing to stand up for what you believe. This is why I'm so impressed with the work that you're doing and with Lion Voice or Lion Talk. And when I saw the promos and they say that it's time for the lions to tell their own story, and they are
yes,
absolutely right. You are absolutely right. It is time for us to tell our own story and stop depending upon others to tell our history because that's all it is. That's his
exactly,
story. That's
exactly,
his story. That's not my story. My story is a mystery because you don't know me, right? But I
exactly.
know my story, but I'm following his story that gives us that history. And we have to learn how to shake those things off so that we can become enlightened and continue to bring in new information to perfect ourselves as we're moving from day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute, moment to moment.
Um, I'm gonna ask you your journey from white Jesus to the black Messiah. But before we do that, if you're watching live, we have international president of the Ethiopian World Federation, Dr. Winborne, tonight. We are sealing up our Pan African History Month strong. We will be live again on Saturday with Ras Sekou Tafari for the Reading Ras on the front line. I want to big up Ras Roots with the $10 contribution, One Perfect Love, Honorable Dr. J. Winborne. Big up Ras Roots, all of our Lion Pride family in Kentucky. We are aiming for $200 tonight. I need 9 more people. 19 people to give a $10 contribution tonight. Don't make Russ Roots be lonely. Tonight we are building together, working together, and at the same time we're bringing the education cutting edge from the Pan African world. All right, so I want to know, Dr. Winborne, your journey. Take us through your journey from the good Western Christian, with the white Jesus, to coming into the information that the Hebrews were an extension of the Nile Valley civilization and were African. What was that process like for you?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question because as I reflect back, um, I was the dean of the Newark Bible Institute,
Okay.
and
So you had a big position by the time you came into this knowledge. You were way up in the church by the time
yes,
you came up into this knowledge.
when
Okay.
I come into this knowledge, I was pastoring of a church. I have been pastoring for years. I was an international evangelist. I traveled all over the country preaching and teaching. Um, and we had a school. We had the Newark Tabernacle Bible Institute, and one of my instructors was teaching a class, and I happened to be peeking in on the class, and I heard him say something. I heard him say that Jesus was black, and I was like, okay, that's interesting, but I kind of let it go on one ear and out the other.
Yes.
I figured that there's some type of connection there that he's made, and I think I just kind of left it. And then one day he visited my church, And after church, if you grew up in the black church and you grew up in the Pentecostal church or even some of the other black churches, you know, when service is over, don't nobody really go home.
Yes, yes.
Everybody just stand in the back of the church outside and they talk, communion, fellowship.
Yes.
We were having one of these conversations, myself, I think two other pastors, because it was a special event at the church, and Dr. Thomas was there. And in our conversation, Dr. Thomas says again, said, look, Jesus was black. So I stopped him this time. And I said, you know, this is like the second time I've heard you say that. How, you know, what, you know, where, how do you figure that? And he says, oh, pastor, that's real easy. I'm surprised you don't know this. And he says to me, he says, according to the narrative, when Mary and Joseph and Herod was trying to kill all of the firstborn, and they took Jesus to hide him away from Herod, where did they go? I said, he went to Egypt. He said, where's Egypt? I said, in Africa. He said, that's my point. How can you go somewhere and hide if you don't plan on blending in? If you are a standout, if you're the only white boy in the class, you know,
Yeah.
Kind of brings me back to the comedian explaining why Idris Elba can never be James Bond.
Yes, yes.
Because there's no place for him to hide in Sweden.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It don't make no sense. Yeah.
It don't make no sense. So, you know, and then when you begin to explore and you begin to look and you realize one day, like, hey, well, wait a minute. Everybody in that book black. Everybody in that book is of color.
When you do the genealogy, you know.
Right. When you go back and look at it, and it you know, it kind of it awakens you, you know. And so you know, as far as blacks being the children of Israel, the children of Abraham, you know, I remember back in the 70s, you know, my pastor, when he be preaching, and you know, he was a hell and fire brimstone preacher, you know, holiness of hell, you get right, you're gonna die, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna burn forever and ever and ever, all that good stuff. But he used to read these narratives, these stories out of the scriptures, and he would say, he would talk about the children of Israel, and he'd be like, who they acting like? That's y'all, right? He used to be, that's y'all. That's y'all. Y'all do the same thing. Y'all act the same way. So he got to be talking about y'all. And he used to say it as a joke.
Yes.
Because you saw those similarities there, only to find out later just how accurate he was just in his passing conversation. So that was the process of coming into that consciousness of understanding that just Jesus. You know, I tell people long before the internet, long before websites and all of this other stuff, they had identity theft.
Yes.
Because they stole the identity of Yeshua.
Yes.
This other character, this European character called Jesus, and
Yes.
told worship this created character as opposed to following the teachings of Yeshua.
Yes.
Who came to wake us up.
Big difference.
And what they gave us continued to put us to sleep, continued to put us in a coma, continued to separate us from the God within. This is what that happened. And so I tell people what we need to be focusing on. We, you know, in our churches today, there's a lot of worship and praise, and there's a lot of things that are going on. But there ought to be more, an examination more of the following of the exact teachings of Yeshua.
Yes, I agree. And I always say there's no story in the Bible of the Hebrews having a northern sojourn that would cause them to lose their melanated state from Adam. Because if Adam is naked in the sunshine, he's going to be a melanated being. And science would tell us that mitochondrial Eve is was an African woman, you know. So there would have to be some testimony in the scripture about the Hebrews going to Norway and being trapped for 10,000 years. And we don't see that, you know what I mean? So,
It's not there.
naturally, you know, if we look at Ham, Shem, and Japhet, if Ham is black, his brothers are going to be the same color. Genetics also tells us that, you know. If we look at Cush, you know, it says Nimrod is the son of who? The son of Cush. So when you talk about Mesopotamia, Sumer, Akkadian, the ancient Hebrews are telling you these were black people over there too, you know. And you look at
The
Egypt,
world was black.
the whole
Anywhere
world.
you go, Ross, you're
Yes,
gonna find us with we were there first. You can
yes,
go to China, we was there. You can go to India, we was there. Okay, even some of these European countries, we were there first.
yes.
And what happened was, I think it was in the 1300s, we went through something that's called the iconoclastic period.
Mm-hmm.
And during the iconoclastic period, what they did was they changed the icons
Yes,
and they whitewashed all of the icons. A lot of people today, even people today in our history books that we recognize as being white, were actually of color.
okay.
So we need to know these things. We need to know that they did that. And so for me, one of the impediments that I have is
Mm-hmm.
this chronic condition of needing to know why,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes. Speak on it.
I always need to know why. Why did they do this? Who did this? When did they do it? And why did they do it? Because as I'm studying the scripture, I realize this is not a mistake,
Yes,
right? This is not a mistake. This is not a typographical error. This is not a transitional error. This isn't an error that describes made. This information here is here by design.
yes,
Okay. It's here by design. It's here to deceive. It's here to lead you astray. Right. So you have to know, I tell people, you got to pick the bones out of the fish. The fish meat is good, but sometimes it's got bones in it. You got to take the bones out so that it doesn't become fatal to you. And when we're doing our religious studies and understanding, no matter what it is, as we go on these journeys, as we experience this thing that we call life here in the third dimension on this planet that they call Earth, that is all going to be a learning experience and a time of waking up. But the question then becomes, Ross, what do you do once you wake up?
yes,
And you will find a lot of people waking up now,
yes,
right? We're waking up. We are waking up. The
yes,
lions are telling their story. But
yes,
in our slumber, as we're coming out of our slumber, some of us, we're still sleepwalking.
yes,
All right. We just getting up. We hitting our toe on the bedpost, right? As we're coming out of this slumber and as we're working up and as we're coming into this knowledge, as we're coming into this understanding, as we're coming into who we are and what we were meant to be and what is our purpose, that is becoming more relative. That is becoming more apparent every day that
yes.
we lose.
When did you realize the significance of Ethiopia? You know, what was that moment where you started to connect Ethiopia into your knowledge?
I would say, as a Bible scholar,
Yes.
theologian, we're always very familiar with Ethiopia and the
Okay.
history that's there, and their religious structure, also, and the importance of it, and the importance of His Majesty Haile Selassie, and what he did for us as a people.
Mhm.
Um, and
Speak
when
on
I
it.
when I when I joined the federation, um, a lot of that information became more available to me. Okay, and me suffering from that chronic condition of needing to know why,
Yes.
um, just begin to dig into the books, dig into the speeches, dig into the history uh, from the perspective of the Ethiopian World Federation and what it meant. And what it meant to be a part of this great organization that His Majesty left for us, this great gift of freedom, this great gift of direction as to what we need to do in order to become self-determined.
So, what year did you discover the Ethiopian World Federation? What was that journey like? You know about Ethiopia. When was it that you heard about the Ethiopian World Federation?
So, funny story, right? So, I have Project Neo, and you may have seen that in our
Yes,
bio, in my
yes,
bio.
I did see that, and I'm
And
going to ask you to talk about that. We'll talk about it as well, for sure.
in Project Neo back in 2013, 14, 15, we were out in the streets doing acts of kindness, just trying to help out our brothers and sisters that were disenfranchised and having a hard time. And several of my team members were members of the Ethiopian World Federation.
Okay.
I didn't know that. And they used to invite me to come to a meeting. And I say, hey, we could use somebody like you. You ought to become da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm busy. I don't have time now, to take on any other vision. But I let them talk me into going to a meeting, and I'm smiling because when I got to the meeting for this particular local, 90% of the people that was there was already part of Project Neo.
Okay.
I was like, hey, we could have had this meeting in the office, right? So I didn't have to come all the way to Harlem to have this meeting. We could have just had the meeting there. But in doing that and coming out, I began to meet other people, and I began to see the significance um, of being a part of it. I saw the historical value
Yes.
in the Ethiopian World Federation, and I saw it as something that was not only a part of history, but a part of our present moment because of the times we're living in,
Yes.
and part of our future as to where we're going. And I tell people all the time that's the great thing about our Constitution because it covers all of these areas. It protected us in 1937. It's protecting us in 2026, and it will protect us further going on as long as we stay within it and stay focused in those instructions that have been laid out by His Majesty.
Talk about reading the Ethiopian World Federation Constitution for the first time, because to me it's a very prophetic document. It's because specifically it talks about saving us from annihilation and also carving a place for the black people in the world I mean, that's not normal language for a
Right.
constitution. You know what I mean?
Right.
Talk about the first time
Right.
you read the Constitution. Coming as a biblical scholar.
My first time reading the Constitution, and in all honesty, was given to me, and I just kind of looked at it as a educational pamphlet, and it had information in it about the Ethiopian World Federation. But when I began to study it and break it down, I began to see it as a sacred document. I begin to see it as Holy Script. And without any effort, it fall in and carried the weight of the Bible. It carried the weight of the Quran. It carried the weight of the Tanakh, the Torah, the Sephiroth, and all of these other debaters, it carried all of the same weight because it was prophetic in its structure, and it was a guide in its structure for us to follow, and it was given to us by the King of Kings, which in itself um, had enormous weight for me.
Okay, so speak on that. From you're a biblical scholar, and now this emperor who's now sitting on the throne of David that you've read about since you were a young boy, and you would have been alive during the reign of His Majesty for some time in the 70s, early 70s. Were you aware of His Majesty as a young man, or did that come kind of retrospectively?
No, that came retrospectively. That came later on. As a young man, like I said, I was engraved in deep in the church.
Yes.
With church doctrine and church dogma.
Yes.
Okay, so nothing gets past that. And in 1974, 1975, 1976, if my roster brothers and sisters would have said to me that Haile Selassie was God, I'd begin rebuking them in the name of Jesus. So
So that's an interesting question.
Back in the 70s, yeah.
That's an interesting question. As a biblical scholar, how do you feel about Rastafari claiming the divinity of Haile Selassie?
I feel as though that we're all divine, and that I understand God within, and I understand that there's a divinity in all of our DNA. I understand that there is a divinity in our melanin, that we are divinely connected to source. Okay. And I understand us being and paying homage to a God, which I think we all are gods, one that has superseded and have stood out and have stood up, okay, and have held up the bloodstained banner and have been working for the black people of the world and have proclaimed that he is the king of all Negroes everywhere. Okay, so I've never had a problem with that. I never had a problem with that because my understanding now is if you see God in someone, that's okay. There's no problem. There's no problem with that. And the reality of it is, there are people that are, I would say, for lack of a better term, confused in their admirations, and their children become their God. Their car become their God. Their home become their God. Their job become their God. Their wife, their husband become their God. And so wherever you can go to grab that resource, okay, wherever you can go to get that inspiration, whatever you can do that satisfy your soul, your relationship with God is personal. It's a personal relationship. It's not a corporate relationship. It's a personal relationship. So who am I to say who you should and should not worship?
Excellent answer. One befitting of the international president of the Ethiopian World Federation. I love it. One of the things I say, I think from my personal perspective and journey into faith is that Yeshua, that was one of his central messages, is that the kingdom of the Almighty is within, and that, to raise people from the shackles of their understanding of the law and having to go to external sources, the scribes and the Pharisees, to have that connection. And the parables, when you look at all of the parables which he was giving to farming communities, fishing community, he used analogies from these examples to convey that message that the kingdom of the Almighty is within. He said, you shall pick up a mountain with faith,
Absolutely.
To cast it in the sea.
Absolutely.
That divine power is within you. And I think that's the message that the mystery schools try to keep from people, from thousands of years, that was held as a sacred knowledge that Yeshua now gave to the world, that no, this hidden knowledge, because remember, he was a carpenter, so he would have been what we would consider a mason. He's a skilled, he's in a lodge of secret knowledge, of esoteric knowledge in those days, once you have one of these trades.
Absolutely.
So he would have had access to this divine knowledge. And he said he didn't come to change the law. He came to what? Fulfill.
To fulfill it. So I tell people all the time, what does that mean? That means that I didn't come to change the law, but I came to fill in the holes. There's some gaps in your understanding, right? And I've come to fulfill it, to say, if you take this and put it with that, now we got a whole picture.
Yes.
Okay. And I tell people that, in my opinion, in my studies, what Yeshua came to do was to wake us up.
Yes.
It was he was a rebel.
Yes.
He was a rebel during that time. I know we paint him. I know how he's painted. I know how he's presented. Okay.
Yeah.
I see the nice humble face, the smiling with the halo. I saw all of that. You saw it too, right?
Yes.
Right? But when you look at the history, when you read the text, no, he was a rebel. Listen, somebody told me one time, they said, Winborne, how come you don't go to church no more?
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, I don't go to church because y'all told me to be more like Jesus. Right? Y'all told me that. Yeah, I told my mother that. She used to get so upset at me and just shake her head like, oh my God, where did I go wrong? I'm like, y'all told me to be more and more like Jesus. I said, when I read the scripture, every time he went to church, there was a problem.
It's true.
Right?
It's true. Turn over the tables of the money changers.
He in there turning over the tables, he in there disrupting the service. Right? Then you find another part of the narrative when he was with the Sadducees and the Pharisees, and he was talking to them when he was 12 years old. And he was just blowing their mind at the information that he was sharing with them. Yes. And they were saying, where did you get this?
Yes.
Where did you get this? Well, if we put two and two together, we had not heard from him as a child. They took him to Egypt, and in Egypt, he went through the mystery schools.
Yes, exactly. Speak on it.
He went through the mystery schools, and he came out an initiative and ordained as a Christ. And then was taking this information that he learned as a child back to the grown Pharisees and Sadducees, the elders and the bishops and the overseers and the apostles and all of these people that's running the organization. And they wondered, where did he get that information? That information came out of the mystery schools. And so again, I said that one of the things that's been going wrong when it comes to religion, and I know that this is Ross, this is a sensitive
yes
topic, right? Because we feel very, very strong about our religious beliefs.
Yes, we do.
And we have a natural instinct to shy away or to feel some type of way about those that don't understand or believe exactly as we believe. We've been trained that way. So
yeah,
I'm
to see those people as enemies. If you don't think like how I think, you're my enemy.
You're my enemy.
Try to destroy you. That's crazy. But continue.
Right. And so understanding that these are delicate conversations, but still conversations that we need to have in honesty, conversations that we need to have humbly, conversations that we need to not go into believing that we know the answer, that we know the truth, right? But conversations that we can go into just collecting data.
Yes.
Just what's the data? What's the information? What does it say? What does it read? Right? Yes. And then honestly, not looking to prove yourself right, but simply looking for right answers.
Yes.
Then we can go in and have an open dialogue and not be offensive to our brothers and sisters, because we're all on the same path and we're all looking for the same thing.
And I agree 1,000%. I came into the knowledge of Yeshua actually through His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. And, once I started researching the emperor and becoming more fascinated, then of course I started looking at his teachings. And he, said he gloried in the Bible and then the whole Ethiopia. And then as an attorney, I was fascinated that Ethiopia had put the Solomonic dynasty in their constitution. And as far as I know, the only nation that claims the bloodline in their constitution, that the emperor was descendant from Queen Makeda and King Solomon of Jerusalem, basically presenting the Davidic throne to the nations. And when we look at the history, we see that no other nation disputed that claim. This is before there was a nation state of Israel in 1948. So it's very significant that the only nation that claimed that Davidic covenant, which, as you know, in the Bible is a central, if the Davidic covenant is not there, the Bible's not true, because the Almighty swore unto David, the fruit of your loins would sit on my throne as long as the sun and the moon endure. The only place that happened was in Ethiopia, that throne endured. So without Ethiopia, the biblical narrative becomes a myth. I'm just sharing my view.
Listen, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So when we see, when I was searching that history and then realizing Ethiopia, a black nation, is the only nation that can claim direct connection to the biblical narrative. And then to see that, as you said, it's written in the Bible, Ethiopia, Kush, in the Bible multiple times from the beginning, from Genesis, from book 1, all the way, throughout the narrative, it's weaved in to the book. To me, that was what convinced I that there's something here. Now, one thing I tell people is that I'm not limited to the Bible, just as Haile Selassie was not limited to the Bible in terms of how he dealt with information. That was central, but there was, he did things that the church didn't like either, bringing in modern technology to the Ethiopia, airplanes and these things. He was fought very steadily by the church. When the first airplane came into Ethiopia, they thought it was a demon, machine. This is how the church was looking at the young Rastafari, bringing in all of this modern technology. So he had to go outside of the church. So I think that we can't be limited. Now, saying all of that, I want to get into Project Neo, the work that you were doing, and then I want to get to how you became the international president of the E.W.F for the first time, because this is your second go around, or this is not your first time in this position. But before we do that, you touched briefly on Project Neo. I want you to just kind of go a little bit deeper. What was the vision? Why did you start it? Why is it called Project Neo? And what was the actual work that you were doing?
So NEO is the acronym for New Economic Opportunities.
Okay.
And so we are a consulting firm that we take on different projects that we see there's a need for in the Black community. As I said earlier, I used to own a mortgage company. And so after the crash, I had to close the business, right?
Okay. This is 2008 you're talking about.
This is 2008.
Okay.
Because the banks was going out of business. The banks that we were getting our money from wasn't getting their money from the bigger banks.
Okay.
And everything, if you're in America, you know the story and you know what happened. And so one of the things that I decided to do, so we had the crash and then they had the bailout.
Yes.
Right? They had the bailout. We had our first Black president, and he structured the bailout. I loved President Obama, but I hated the bailout. I hated the bailout for the simple reason is that what they did was they gave the money right back to the same people that had messed it up.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was a travesty
Yeah.
because giving the money back to them, they weren't going to do anything to help the man on the street.
No.
They weren't going to do anything to help those that were in foreclosure. They weren't going to do anything to help those that was losing their homes, that have been making payments on their homes. And now they're, because of everything that was going on, there was a massive, massive foreclosure. So one of the things we did was we flipped the table, right? So we went from doing loans and putting mortgages out there to becoming a consultant for pro se litigants as a became a part of foreclosure mitigations, right? So we were helping those individuals that we had actually at one time put in homes, helping them and showing them how to keep their home, how to fight the bank, how to come against the bank, how to let them know that they are indeed foreclosure that work for our people to help keep them to help keep them in their homes. So we did that, and one of the things we did was we tried to create a system where they could try to create a system where they could we can change the money game, right? We can change the money game and take money and put it directly in the pockets of those that are disenfranchised, that have lost their homes, and that were in dire need. And so one of the things we came up with is something like an international or a national susu.
Okay.
Okay. So the ideal was to find a way where we can put money into our people's pockets because their system wasn't working. And they proved to us that their system wasn't working because the trickle down economic stuff never trickled down to me and my family.
Never.
Okay. It never trickled down to most of the people that I know. So the ideal was to come up with a system where we can build wealth from the street up. Okay, by us coming together collectively, putting our monies together, circulating it around, okay, and then spreading it back out amongst ourselves to support ourselves. Because I believe that we have enough money amongst ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that we can become self-sustainable. Our problem is that we don't hold on to the money.
No.
Okay, so it is said that when money come into the community, let's say money come into the Asian community, it circulates 16 times
Yeah.
before it leaves the community. It is said that when they come into the so-called Jewish community, the money circulates 24 times before it leaves the community. And it is also said that money coming into the black community, there is no circulation. That it lasts about 6 hours
Wow.
before that money is taken out of our community. And our sisters is taking it to the Koreans to get their nails done. They're taking it to them to get their, to get their hair and all of these other things. So we're taking the rest of our money and we giving it to the landlord so that we can have a place to rest our head. But the money never stays in our community. So the ideal of Project Neo and the Neo network was to find a way to circulate that money. So we created an electronic platform that people can pay in all over the world, small pieces as little as $1 to join the network. Have them placed in pools of funds that circulated around and then kicked back out to put money in our members' pockets and also to do acts of kindness, right? So
Yeah.
we trying to create two in one transaction. The idea is we have more what we realize. Okay, when we see everything that's going on in the world today, all around the world, okay,
Mm-hmm.
even especially specifically here in America,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we know that we have to do something because they are coming.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We watch the news. We see ICE, and we see them talking about the immigrants and getting rid of the immigrants and all of these things. They're supposed to get rid of the criminals, but they're getting rid of everybody. Okay, that's not right. Now you hear the talking now about the 14th Amendment. If you're in America, you know the 14th Amendment is what gives you the right to be here of those that were born here. They're trying to change that because what they're doing now is they're coming after our Caribbean community.
Yes.
Okay, this is the plan. So next they're coming after those that are here, you know, from Jamaica, from Trinidad, from Tobago, and from any of the any place else in the Caribbean. They're coming after them. Then they're coming after the Black Americans.
Hmm.
All right. Now they're trying to put this plan in place now as we speak. And I can get into Agenda 25. I can get into the laws that have been changed, the bills that have been put out there. We can talk about them trying to remove blacks out of the military. We can talk about them trying to close down the African American Museum. We can talk about them trying to remove the conquest of black people out of the history books.
Hmm.
We can talk about all of these things. We can talk about them closing the Department of Civil Rights. We can talk about them closing the departments where they can make complaints on police brutality. All of that has been closed. Why? Because they're coming. And what they've been trying to do is go into martial law.
Yes.
All right. Where the fella that's in office now can find a way to stay in office. But you got to find a way to do it because certainly ain't nobody voting for you.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And so what they've been trying to do, Ross, especially here in America, and I know other places, is they're trying to bait black people
Hmm.
because we have refused to respond, right? We refuse to go out into the street. We refuse to go out and protest. We've been there, done that. We told y'all what was going to happen. You didn't listen to us. Y'all put this man back in office. We already knew what was going to be. We already knew what was going to happen if this man ever got back in office. We tried to tell you. Now, you voted for him for one or two reasons. You voted for him because you're rich and you're looking for a tax break so that you can put more of your money in the pocket. Or you voted for him because you hate black people. All right? It's real simple to me. And so even what you're going through, that's okay as long as you believe black people are suffering. That's the mentality of some people. If you think about the Civil War in America, most people, white people fighting on the side of the Confederates, didn't own slaves, right? So what would make you put your life on the line to defend something you not reaping the rewards from? Only so you can feel better by a certain class of people being held down. That's the psyche. So what are they doing? They're trying to bait us. They're hanging out people again, Ross. Okay? They're lynching them again. There's been almost 15 lynchings this year.
It's not being widely reported. I've heard something, but even myself, I haven't heard so much about it in the mainstream media
because they don't want to talk about it. And those cases where these people have been lynched, There have been no investigations. The police department has said that they were all suicide.
Okay.
This is the authorities. Now, you know us. Number one, it's not a lot of us committing suicide. That's number one. Because we've been through too much. We become hardened and unmoved by it. And if we do, we ain't climbing no tree with a rope
Yeah.
and then tie the rope around and then jump up. We're not doing that.
No.
So what does that say? That said that there's something behind this. To me, that says that there's some type of authority behind this that's making this happen. Excuse me.
Serious. What I want to know now is take us on that journey to becoming Ethiopian World Federation, because I want to get your vision. We're laying out some of the landscape, but I want to get your vision in terms of, as the leader now of Ethiopian World Federation, what is your vision? What do you feel your mandate is? But before we get there, take us through the journey of you went to the meeting. It's filled with Project Neo people, so you're realizing that this is a home for you. You read the Constitution. You're starting to adopt it now. Take us on the journey to becoming the president for the first time. What was that like?
Well, it was really unexpected, Ross. Um, I was in my living room one day and the phone rang, and there was a gentleman on the other end of the line that I did not know. He identified himself as the international president of the Ethiopian World Federation, of which I was a member of Local 26 at the time. And he explained to me that he would be stepping down and that he would not be running because of health reasons. And he wanted to know if they nominated me, would I accept the nomination, which I thought was a big honor. Um, and I told him that I couldn't answer him right now, and that I really had to think about it and get back to him. So what I had to think about was what the things that I was doing with Project Neo. I didn't believe that I could successfully do both of them at the same time and give them the attention that it needed. Um, so I did obviously said yes, and we kind of took some of the projects, and the main project that we were working on was just the active kindness project, where we were circulating the money, we were doing this type thing, and we had just built an electronic platform in order to handle such a task, where monies were contributed, put into a system, and it does automatic transfers of debits and credits to various areas as these funds are broken up. I didn't think that I could stay on top of them, um, but I kind of felt led to take the position because as being a member of the local, I realized that there were some things that I was not happy with, and I didn't know why they were. And me, being me, as I said, suffering from that chronic illness of wanting to know why, I thought that as the international president, I could get some of those answers. And if I was able to get some of those answers, I could correct some things, use my business skills, and correct some things and put some things in the proper perspective, and I can get some answers as to why this was like this or why that was like that. And so that was how I became the international president. I went to the convention, and I was on I was nominated, and I was voted in, and I accepted the position. That was in 2019.
Okay.
In 2025, I stepped down. And I guess we can go back and talk about what that journey was like up until I
Yes.
stepped
Yes.
down.
Yes. What were some of your achievements during your tenure as the international president?
Well, as the new international president, I came in thinking that I had an advantage over other presidents in the past because I did not have um, other commitments,
Okay.
right? I had not been around Ross long enough to join a clique,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
right? So I had no loyalties to anyone but the Federation. And so that was good for me because every decision that I make is solely based on the welfare and the advancement of the Federation and not any one individual, not any one group, not any one local, just what was best for the Ethiopian World Federation. And so I was able to operate that way. When I was elected, I realized that there were some serious things that needed to be put together and corrected. One thing is getting the locals back engaged,
Mhm.
um, which was scattered, all over different places. And so what we did was I called everyone together and notified a couple of key individuals and said, listen, let's bring everybody in. Let's find out what we're going to do, how we're going to do it moving forward. And from that time, we started to build and bring the locals back together. We've been able to put some different departments into the Federation that wasn't there before. We have a foreign affairs department now. We have ambassadors. We have the repatriation and reparations department and commission. We have an international complaints and grievances. We have international ways and means now. We have a youth congress. We now have our Saturday meetings, our global meetings, where we're having our town halls where the members can come and answer questions, ask questions about the movements and what's going on within the federation, how we're moving along with those things that the membership have asked us to accomplish. So we've been able to those 6 going on 7 years give the federation, in my opinion, structure.
Okay.
Right? Give it structure, give it a format, get it concrete. Put them on a platform where we can communicate every day and do business every day, as opposed to periodic meetings. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of accomplishments. Um, Not to go through all of them right
Yes.
now, but
Yes.
we've been blessed in being able to work. We've been blessed in being able to put teams together to continue the growth. We took on the mantra of Federation Rising,
Mhm.
and that became our mantra as we was growing and putting back together and being able to bring in our international locals was real important also, right? And so as it stands now, we've been able to grow the Federation back to where we have to have interpreters in our meetings.
Okay.
We have to have interpreters in our meetings now. All of our literature and documentation has to be transcribed into French, Creole, and Spanish. Those are mandates coming from the members because of that growth. And so, to see us now having uh, exchanges and people on the council in Martinique, in Guadeloupe, in Haiti, in Paris, in Ethiopia, and in these other parts, all coming together under this one banner, under this vision that was given to us by His Majesty.
Wow. Talk about the significance of Malaku Bayan for the eye.
The significance of Malcolm Bam and his lovely wife Dorothy coming to the United States and setting up this corporation for us to use, to have as an umbrella and a protective measure for the diaspora, essentially setting up a government for the diaspora. That's essentially what the Ethiopian World Federation is supposed to be. So one of my objectives is to get us back to that stage where we're operating as the government for the Black people of the world, with all of the amenities that come along with being a government. Okay, so that's this is some of our objectives and that we're working on now, which I think it's very important. We have the departments, we have the committees, we have the commissions, and we have all of these things that are in place now. Now that we've come together, now that we've identified who we are, now that we have structure, it's time to take the work to a new level.
Okay, so I think that's the perfect segue. Before we do that, because I'm going to ask you what's the vision now. But before we get into the vision, if you're joining us live, we have Dr. Winborne, the newly elected president of the Ethiopian World Federation. If you love the content, let us know where you're watching from in the comment section. Lion Pride, please check in. Let the world know that we are a global platform here on the Lion Voice Network. Our goal tonight is $200. So far, we have 15 Big Up Grassroots with the $5 contribution. I don't like how you all let Grassroots be so lonely on these episodes sometimes. He needs company. You know, we need other fire angels to step up and contribute to the platform. We're working a muscle. This is called cooperative economics. This is called how we fund our media, is by the audience being involved. So if you want to become a monthly member, you can do that. Or sometimes you just pass through and you want to just give us strength. Any strength that we can get, we give thanks for. And regardless, we're going to continue to bring high quality, high frequency reasonings so that we can be on the same page. Because as our elder is telling us, this is not a time for joking around. We're living in serious times, and this is action time. So we really have to be aware that the system is literally crumbling around us. The elites of most of the nations have totally abrogated their duty to the poor. The expectation of the poor shall not always be forgotten, but they're forgetting it. And they are looting the system through wars, through endless wars, through chaos. And if we don't get our act together, I think we're in major trouble. Now, your predecessor, Sister Cheryl Murray Powell, I had the pleasure of attending a Black Food Sovereignty event with her. And she, I know that was one of her central things that she wanted to get the E.W.F involved with in terms of food production and really making sure that we stay on top of that, the food system. I want to know from the eye if there are plans to continue in that vein, but also more importantly, what is your vision for now that you are at the helm once again? What would you like to achieve in this next year in terms of priorities for the Ethiopian World Federation?
Well, let me say we give honor to our former president that served last term, Cheryl Murray Powell, ESQ, and for the work that she's done in my absence. It was a great work, and we honor her for her sacrifice and the efforts and things that she put together. As we are moving forward in this new term, it's time for action. It's time for action. It's time for the Federation to be more engaged. We intend to be more engaged in what's going on around the world. We intend to be more engaged on addressing those abuses that are happening around the world, whether it's economic abuse, whether it's political abuse, whether it's police abuse, whatever the abuses are, we plan on being a voice, a loud advocate for those that are disenfranchised, and providing resources and avenues and cures for those things that are coming against us as a people. Okay, and not only that, we have ideals as to what we need to do as a people and what we can bring to the people as far as saving us, as far as our economics are concerned. That's real important. So we're doing things this term. We're setting up e-commerce a platform, and people you will be hearing about that soon. But really, the thing is, here's how we can combat what's going on. Because as I said earlier, they're trying to bait us to get out into the street to start riots and things of that nature.
Yes.
But we don't have to do that. We don't have to outgun them. Okay, we don't have to sacrifice our children and our kids and ourselves being out in the street fighting these devils. We control their God, okay, and their God is money. We can control our money and shut their whole system down without ever firing a single shot. And we have to do that by controlling our funds. We have to do that, number one, by buying black, not just as something to say, just not as a nice slogan, but mean it, but feel it, but understand the importance of it. We can defeat them by circulating those funds amongst ourselves. That's one of the things that Neo was working on. And hopefully, at some time in the near future, it can be an objective of the federation as a whole. And we're talking and having those conversations one way or the other. All right, but the idea of it is us coming together as a people, and that's always been our challenge, Ross.
Yes, yes.
That's always been our challenge. Our challenge has never been our talent.
No.
Never. We have always been the most talented people on the earth. Anything you put us in and you let us do or try, we'll take it over and do it better than anyone else that ever did it. That's in our nature. We're not trying to be better than you, we just are.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn to stand on that truth because we've been brainwashed to believe that we're less than, and we're not. We can control our own destiny. We can control our own future. We can control our own dollars. We can control the food that we eat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some of the programs that the former president was working on, we talked about the hydroponics. I forget the exact name of the program, where we was having a farm in every kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as a point of having food security.
Yes.
We talked about collectively pooling our monies together and spreading it around to create economic security and create economic freedom through a collective ideology. So we have a lot of things that we can do as a people that won't require us uh, um, giving up our lives as we move as we
Yes.
moving forward. Okay, there's other ways. There's other ways to do this. We just got to think. We got to think. We not be emotional, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to grab on our emotions. Okay, so they killing, they killing black people. They killing the little black boy that went out with all his white friends. Everybody come home but the black kid. Again with the lynchings and all of these other things, where we see where you got the man in the store chased the little 14-year-old boy out of the store, tried to accuse him of stealing, and then shot him in his back as he was running away.
That was an
Him,
Asian man. That was an Asian man.
right? Him, they found not guilty. You understand?
Uh-huh.
So you can, our lives, it makes you say Black Lives Matter. you know, and I know a lot of people nowadays, because of the rumor mills and what they allow our oppressors to put out there on these groups, okay, and give them bad names and try to put them in scandals. We got to know that that's what they do. That's what they do all the time, because they need to keep black people suppressed. All right, they try to keep you down because that's part of their racism, is their bigotry, is their jealousness. That's really what it is. It's jealousy.
Yes. Yes.
How is it that these people that we've done so much to, that we've gone in and cut up the whole continent of Africa and divided it up amongst ourselves? Of these people that we've persecuted, these people that we've held in involuntary servitude for over 400 years, these people that we let go free with nothing, okay, because we had to let them go with nothing, no food, no shelter, no money, any of that stuff, and look and see where they are today. Look at what they've done with nothing.
Uh-huh.
And so they look at that and say, well, it's an indication of their failure. Your
Um,
success is an indication of their failure.
yes, it
This
is.
is why they feel the way that they feel. This is why they get upset when they see black people being happy. This is why they get upset if they see a black person in a nice car. This is why they get upset if they see a black person with a nice home, because it's an indication of their failure.
So what I'm hearing from you, Doctor, is that we have to use our money as a principal tool for our liberation. But one of the things I want to ask you before I do that is, let me just acknowledge Sister Nyla with the $10 contribution. We're at $25. Big up all of my Lion Pride. Grassroots is not so lonely now. You see how that works, family? So we have a brother and we have a sister. That's balance. If I don't see another dollar, I feel good. I just don't want my brother to be by himself when so much of us enjoy this content and we have to contribute to make it work. You know what I mean? I'm willing to do the legwork, but we all have to chip in if we want this to grow and continue to grow. So big up Sister Nyla, one of our ardent Lion Pride members, and Ras Roots, one of our foundation Lion Pride members. Big up their themselves. Feel free to give a contribution. Our goal tonight is $200. But what I want to ask is, one of the hardest things to do is to get black people to spend money with. I mean, you're watching the struggle that we have here, and my audience loves me like cook food, you know what I mean? But it's still very hard to get them to contribute. They will when they can, but in terms of as a strategy, how do we get people? And I think that circumstances are going to, Marcus Garvey said black people won't move until they're back against the wall. I think our back is against the wall. How do you plan to motivate? Even just starting with the E.W.F. I'm an E.W.F. member. Even starting with how do we motivate us to really be intentional about how we're spending our dollar? How do we track our progress? Because one of my conversations with Sister Cheryl Murray Powell was we need to really focus on the economic foundation of the EWF. We need money in the war, any type of advocacy costs. The two buzzwords we have on this channel are budget and staff. I tell my audience, if I'm in a room and I'm not hearing these two buzzwords for too long, then I'm going to remove myself because we're not serious about sustainability, and I say this as a recipient of the Presidential Award for Volunteer Service, so I'm no stranger to volunteer work. I've been doing it over 2 decades, almost 3 decades of my life, and I continue to do it, serving on multiple boards, all of that. But I'm aware now, especially at my age, that to do this work, we need full-time employees. We need staff. I mean, you've run businesses, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. How do we get this economic message to the hardest people on the planet to mobilize, which is our very same black people? Everybody got a flat screen TV. Everybody got nice clothes and
Air Jordans.
We got all of it. You know what I mean? But we don't have money. We're poor. We're broke. How do we do this, doctor? What's the solution?
The solution is there has to be a change of mind. We have to move from being consumers, okay? Because as a consumer, all you're doing is consuming. So since we haven't had, the moment we get a couple of dollars and we can get something, that's what we do, okay? The moment we get a few dollars, that may be more than my brother or sister, we want to buy the nice car. We want to buy the foreign car. We want to buy the Mercedes. We want to buy this, that, and the other because it speaks to status. And as a people, we're still trying to create status and be impressionable in a system that don't care nothing about us. Okay? What we have to have is a change of mind as far as how we're spending our money and what we're spending our money on and how we're spending it. In fact, what I tell people we got to learn to do is stop spending it and learn to circulate it.
Yes.
Okay. We have to learn to circulate it. We have to learn to circulate that money amongst ourselves. Everything that we need, we have it amongst ourselves already. We've been brainwashed into believing that we can't do business with each other. All right. We've been brainwashed into believing that if I go into a black store, a black establishment, and I have an issue with the owners of that establishment or the service in that establishment, we'll walk out of that establishment and say, you see, that's why I don't deal with black people.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we do. I ain't going to another black store, but we're going to a white store and be treated all kind of way. They'll follow you all around the store. They want you to check your bag when you come in and all of these kind of stuff. And we'll be treated bad there, but we'll leave that one and we'll come right back to that same store that treated us bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Why? Because of the color of their skin. And why is that? Because we've been brainwashed into believing certain things that just are not true. We can do business with each other. We must do business with each other. We must unify. We must come together. Like I said, talent has never been our problem. Our challenge has always been, how do we take that talent? How do we take that skill? How do we take that mindset and use it all for us? We've given it to everyone else. How do we now take my talent, gift, and trade and circulate it amongst ourselves? Because we got black doctors, we got black lawyers, we got black carpenters, electricians. You name it, we have it already. We just have to learn to utilize it. And always there needs to be a commitment. And also, most people is what about me syndrome. Okay. Yes. And what do I get out of it? What's in it for me? Right. And so we have to address that question also. We also have to find ways to create income for our people, not just jobs. I'm not a big fan of jobs. I don't do any job training. I don't need to be a part of any job program. Okay. Teach me how to go into business. Teach me how to earn my own money. Teach me how to become a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the commodity where someone is paying me for my time, where someone is paying me for my skill set. Okay. And there's a contract, not wages, not a salary. Okay. But a contract. And this is where we have to get to. This is the mindset that we have to get to. This is the mindset that we have to work on. This is the mindset that we have to give our children. You take control of your own money. You take control of your own affairs instead of selling your energy, okay, all week long until you get to the weekend. Because by that time, that's just what you are. You have been weakened,
Yeah, I've been
right?
weekend.
You have been
Exactly.
weakened.
So at next year's convention, 2027, what would you consider a successful year? What would you like to be reflecting on in terms of achieving in this next year between now and the next convention? Attainable goals. What do you think is attainable within that time?
I think what's attainable in that time is our idea of several departments that we're trying to put together now to
Okay.
help us move the needle forward. Like I said, the public advocacy, we e-commerce, and these are things that we're doing now, where we're trying to set up even for our members, as we're looking to do our e-commerce, where they could put, all our members could become affiliates, right? And
Hmm.
somebody click your affiliate link and buy something out of the e-commerce store, and you'll get paid for it. So we're just trying to find ways to create to create support for our members, also create as the Ethiopian World Federation.
And I think that's key, because especially to expand the membership, because the constitution is very broad. When you talk about the black peoples of the world, that's not a small audience that you're
Mm-mm.
talking about. So I think there has to be a focus on how members can benefit. And we know right now everybody's thinking about their pocket, the economics. In the biblical terms, they say Pharaoh put a hard yoke on the people. We're in one of
Mhm.
those periods where there's a hard yoke on the people.
Right,
Most people are working 2 and 3 jobs. They got a main job, and then they got an evening gig, or they got something on the side. We're not in the time where middle class, a black man could work at a factory and support a family of four, you know,
right.
which used to happen in this country.
Not
That
anymore.
not that that doesn't exist anymore. Both parents
Mhm.
working, both parents hustling, and we still are living check to
And the
check.
kids better get out there and sell lemonade. You
Yes.
know, so
No, it's real. It's real. It's real.
hey, everybody, listen. You have to do it with our times that we live in, the way that we're living in now. Why? Because the game is rigged,
Yes.
and it's rigged against you. Okay, and it is so much going on, so much information that they've kept from us, so much money. excuse me, that we could have circulating. You know, there's some things that we're working on within the federation that's coming down the pike. I can't really talk about them now,
Yeah.
and I can't really talk about them on this platform. But
Yes.
there's some announcements we're going to be making as far as some things that we're going to be doing, and I think that everyone will be impressed. Everyone see that there's a renewed commitment, that there's a new vision, and there's a new determination to operate at our highest level, as His Majesty envisioned it, and Dr. Bayham put it together. That we're
Yes.
operating in that order. And so I think that people are going to exceed. I expect for our numbers, our membership to increase this year, because we are doing some organization specifically to bring in new members, to show this vision to more people that don't know about this great gift that Haile Selassie has left us, that don't know about this great institution that that is theirs.
Yes.
So those are our intentions this year, to make those moves and to make those things happen. And I think that when it starts to come out, we start promoting more and letting people know more, because some of the things that we have not done as we were growing and putting things together, like I said, now it's time that we can do more work. So now it's time we can do more the social media, putting that presence out there and letting people know that there is an entity, there is a bomb in Gilead, okay,
Aye.
that can protect you, and that we are living and seeing the fulfillment of the prophet Ezekiel, and those bones shaking together and coming back together, and that great nation rising up. We are witnessing this now as we speak. You are a part of it. Okay. Life has so fitted to make you a part of that, to be a part of that movement. The question becomes, what are you going to do with it? What are you
Zero.
going to do with it?
We have a question here to the president, Ras Nimba. I think he's out of Botswana. Let us know you're watching from, Ras Nimba. I believe this is Botswana tuning in. He said, to the president, what is the position in regards to the Shashamane land grant development?
So the position of the Shashamane land grant development, I've been to Shashamane in 2002. 2002, I think we had the convention there. We was able to go to the land grant. We was able to walk around the community and see what is there. What we need to do is, I'm sure Ross Nimber is asking this question because we need to have more focus there in Shashamane and with the land grant, and see what we can do. We're now doing a document search on the original documentation back in the 50s, when His Majesty put the land grant in focus. As you know, the area has gone through many changes.
Yes.
It has survived different administrations. It survived the dirt. It survived a bunch of things, and so we have to focus there and continue to perfect the foundation that has already been laid. Continue to perfect the work that has already started there. And like everything else, it takes money. It takes individuals being committed, willing to give their time and their energy. It takes all of us coming together and working together. I think that we could build a whole new infrastructure over there for our people. I believe that with the right organization and finding the right resources, we can add to the headquarters there. There's room to build up, there's room to build out. There are other spaces that's there, and there's other spaces that we can talk about utilizing as we move forward, even in our repatriation project.
Okay. I have to ask, we have a couple more questions and then we're going to let you go. We have Dr. Winborne here, newly elected president of the Ethiopian World Federation, the international president of the Ethiopian World Federation. He is returning to this post. He has laid out his vision. If you're watching live and you have a comment, now is the time to put it in the chat. I see some of the questions. And just moving forward, because I don't get to see all the questions, one of the best ways to get your questions seen is to give a contribution to the channel. Those posts are highlighted posts when you do a super chat, and that guarantees that I'm going to see your posts. I can't read all of the comments as they come in, or else I'm not attentive to the guests. So if you really want to get your question answered, try to see them, but that's one of the ways that you can guarantee that your question will be asked. I see, hold on a second, I see a couple more questions. But before I ask that, I have to ask you about this new thing that's come on the scene, which is called the FBA and the ADOS. You know, you're a Black American. That's why I wanted to establish your lineage. You're not from the Caribbean. You are rooted in the people of this land, the Black people of this land that we're in. I'm in Washington, D.C. How do you feel about this diaspora wars, everything that's coming in, and what guidance as the international president of a Pan-African organization, which, I think Haile Selassie creating the E.W.F for the diaspora kind of destroys the whole argument that Africa has never done anything for Black Americans. They don't want us. They rejected us. All of that. I think the E.W.F is a living kind of stumbling block for this kind of isolationist, tribalist attitude. But I want to know from you as a Black American, how do you feel about this rising sentiment that Black Americans have nothing to do with Africa? They're indigenous to this land, and they need to just worry about themselves and their own reparation. What do you say to the FBA and the ADOS movement?
Well, there's always movements that are coming up. I will say that as we do the back we just
hold on 1 second. This is a person named Wi-Fi. The guy is interrupting. As soon as we get into the nitty gritty, you see what's happening. We're gonna wait for the Wi-Fi to stabilize, and then we'll get him to start the answer again. You froze, Dr. Winborne. This is where
as we go.
Hold on there, Dr. Winborne. You froze. We didn't hear.
I froze. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't hear anything that you said. So start over again. We have a character. Okay. Yeah, we have a character that comes on the channel called Wi-Fi the guy. Anytime we get too deep, you know what I mean? The internet freezes.
Wait, hold up.
So Wi-Fi the guy showed his head. You were getting into something. Please start again. Go ahead.
What I was saying is that if you go back and you look at some of the records, you look at the manifestos from the slave ships, you look at just some of the records, and not to go too deep into it, some of the historical records and stuff that has been changed here in America. There seems to be more and more credibility, Ross, to the argument that those of us that are descendants of that are now being identified as Black American may just very well be native to this country here, America, right? I will say that, funny story. I used to work for Republic National Bank in the commodities division. We were trading precious metals, gold and silver, and we were doing back office operation. And one of the fellows that I worked with was a Jewish fellow by the name of Ari Schwecki. Ari was a very good friend of mine, and he was a Jewish white boy from Africa who's native. He was from Senegal, okay, and his native language was French. And I used to tell him that he was the most mixed up person I ever met in my life because he had all of these elements to him. I mean, he used to say to me, Julius, for whatever reason, he used to call me Julius. Julius Caesar. He thought I was going to take over the world one day. He used to call me Julius. And he said, Julius, I'm more African than you are. He said, I'm from Africa. Actually, my passport there right now, I'm from Africa. So there's different arguments that are going back and forth. I think that our history will show that all of us come out of Africa. All life come out of Africa, and that we spread all over everywhere. As I said earlier in our talk, that you can go to China. We was there before the people that you see there now. You can go to India. We were there before those people that you see there now. So it was a black world. It was a black planet. right? So I think that in these conversations that there are elements and specks of truth in these conversations. The ideal is to come together and reason as we are now, and just look at the information and then make a determination from that information uh, what the situation really is. So I understand that these arguments are out there, these conversations are out there. Black Americans are not Africans, and um, even if you were, you've been gone 500 years, and so at what point do you become indigenous to wherever you are? Uh, so all of those arguments, those conversations are there, but we have to be careful that we don't use these conversations to divide and let them divide us and let them separate us, because this is what our oppressors want to happen. Our oppressors love nothing more than to see us divided. Our oppressors fear nothing more than to see us come together. They recognize the divinity in our DNA. They recognize, they know who we are. They know who we are better than we know who we are. While we're having these remedial arguments about where we come from here, we come from there, we come from this one, we come from that one. And we've allowed our identity to be tied up in a landmass where our identity is divine. There's a spiritual connection to us, no matter where we at. There's a spiritual connection to us, no matter where we're domiciled, no matter where we're living, no matter where we came from. That connection is there, and it will always be there. It is my prayer, it is my hope that these are the things that we can focus on. Those spiritual connections, that connection of divinity, that when I see you, I see myself, that when I see you, I see my brother, and that we're all in this together. It don't matter where you come from. When the police pull you over, you think they're looking at a Jamaican? You think they're looking at a Trinidadian? You think they're looking at a Kenyan? You think they're looking at Africa? No, they see niggas. Sorry, can I say that on your show?
You can.
They see niggas.
Context matters. Context matters. You can't call me that, but you can say that.
I can say that. All right.
In a descriptive sense, we we're good with the truth.
So this is what they see. They don't see a difference. They don't care about a difference. It's all the same thing to them. If you're black, it's all the same. It don't matter where you come from. It don't matter what you achieve. It don't matter what you accomplish. It don't matter how much money you have. It don't even matter if you're a cop. If you're a black cop and the police pull you over, the first words out of your mouth better be, I'm a cop. Okay? Even the cops know that. Right. Because of the time that we live in. So they don't see a separation where we see that I'm better than this one because my island bigger than that island, or my country bigger than that country, or we can do this, or we more educated, or we more this, or we more that. We are all the same. And if you're more educated than I am, then you have a responsibility to bring me up to your level.
There you have it, family. Straight from the mouth of the international president of the Ethiopian World Federation. Unity is the accepted goal. We can celebrate our differences, but when it becomes a stumbling block, then we've gone too far. Speaking of indigenous, we have a question here from one of our elders, St. Lucia, checking in. What can the E.W.F do to promote the indigenous status of its members?
Again, as I said, what we're doing is formulating ourselves to be the government, right? And at the end of the day, the vision would be to have the amenities that any nation would have. All right. That is the diplomatic status, immunity from the laws and things of that nature. These are our end goals that we are working on now. So the EWF is trying to position itself to remain the refuge temple, for lack of a better term, where all the black diaspora can come and have those needs and have their needs met. I hope I answered the gentleman question. I don't know. You may want to repeat it. I hope I answered this.
He's asking what the EWF can do to promote the indigenous status of its members, and I think what he's referring to, and you can correct me, Bongo wisely, is that a lot of times we hear Ethiopian World Federation is a government within a government, and I guess he's saying in terms of people are asserting a level of sovereignty or moving under the EWF umbrella in their respective regions. What does that look like?
What that looks like is we are working on an identification process where our members have ID cards, and those cards will be an indication as to their status with the indigenous and to what land that they are. These are the things that we're working on. As far as promoting it, the promotion is there, Ross. What we got to do is get people to stand on it. Okay. When I say stand on it, not just have it. It has to be real. It has to be believed. It has to be felt. It has to become a part of your being. It has to become a part of your cell. You need to feel it within you. You have to move. I said it the other day. We have to move out of believing who we are into knowing who we are. When we move into knowing, these other things will start to fall in line. Our status will follow our knowing. Okay. Some people say seeing is believing. And I kind of think that's backwards. I believe that believing is seeing. Okay. If you say unto yonder mountain, be thou cast in the sea and send out that in your heart, it shall be done. Okay. So if you believe that His Majesty set up a organization to operate as a government within a government nation, within many nations, then we have to operate on that. We have to stand on that. It can't be just something passed by. The Federation can't be something just good. It can't be just a lodge. It can't be just something to do, something to have a function, to have a fish fry, to have a meat. It got to be more than that. It has to be a way of life. It has to be something that we eat, sleep, drink, get up, talk about every day, because this is the times that we live in. The times that we live in require that amount of commitment, because they're shooting with real bullets out here. We no longer, listen, I grew up and I hear people talk about Babylon falling. I grew up hearing that. So much so going one end out the other.
Yeah.
But we are witnessing prophecy being fulfilled in front of our very eyes.
Speak on it.
Okay, so we've said Babylon is falling. We've said it. We've ridiculed each other, but we see the elements and the pieces of it falling together, falling apart in front of our very eyes. We see those that's supposed to be in charge losing it. Okay, just going crazy. With the dollar is falling apart, the government is falling apart, the military is falling apart. Okay, we let a country like Iran just make fools out of us. Okay, this has never been. We have Brexit. We have those that's leaving. All right, we have the president trying to move away and start. We have a president that put together an illegal crypto scheme. I mean, you gotta laugh at it. This is the degradation that we are living in and that we're experiencing every day. When you turn on the TV and look at it, this is what's going on. This is not made up any longer. This is
No.
not a theory. This is not something we talk about when we sit in the room smoking. Okay?
Yes.
We did that already. Now it's real. And so, what are we going to do about it? And so, we're hoping to put the federation into a position, and I believe that we are. But like I said earlier, I'm restricted on some of the things that I can share
Yes.
now.
Prudent. I will ask you to return here because we're going to wind up. I'm not going to keep you all night, but we'll ask you to return. This is your platform. In the same way we extended it to my good sister Cheryl Murray Powell, and we're going to have her back on the platform to talk about her tenor and kind of do a retrospective on her tenor. The same way we open the platform to her, it's open to yourself. So any initiatives that you want to launch to the public, this is the I platform as well. So we'll ask you to return when those initiatives ripen to the point that they can be made public. We'll ask you to return and we'll do a deep dive if you want to do a panel and bring on different federation members with you as well. We're open to that as well. So, whatever you envision, our audience, the Lion Pride is your audience. And we're going to ask, I have one more question, and then we're going to ask you to give your final words. And then we're going to just chalk this up as a classic episode and part one of our interaction with Dr. Winborne. We have our final question is going to be, what is the website and social media handles of the E.W.F?
The website is TEWFinc.org. You can go there and you can see everything that's happening with the Ethiopian World Federation. Some of the other social media sites, YouTube, Facebook, and some of those stuff. Forgive me, they're new. They were put together under the previous administration, so I'm still catching up as I'm getting back to my old job. But I do know that you can go to our website, www.tewfinc.org, and all of the Ethiopian World Federation, and what you want to know about the federation, you can find it there.
Give thanks. And again, we are here live with Dr. Winborne. We didn't meet our $200 goal for the evening, but we did get $25 of brethren and a sistren. And the item, no, I'm relentless. I'm not going to stop until we can easily just have 20 brethren and sistren give $10 each time we go live. We're building a machine. We're building the practice of cooperative economics. I told the item, media is very important, but when media is supported by sponsors, then the sponsors dictate the message. To stay truly independent, you have to be funded by your audience. That gives you the freedom to have these type of conversations, because if I'm sponsored by 3 or 4 major sponsors and then I say something they don't like, and I have a staff and I'm paying people, then I'm almost compelled to censor myself to that sponsor because I don't want to lose that revenue that's keeping my operation. As opposed to if I have 50,000 people that I know are contributing small amounts, that gives me the freedom that even if some go away, we still are able to stay independent, non-aligned, and free. And this is decentralized concept is how we want to build all of our institutions, ideally, where the people have the power. As I think one of the themes of this episode is that the divinity is within us. Emmanuel. What does Emmanuel mean? Emmanuel mean God is with us. You see what I'm saying? So that was the lesson of Yeshua. We talked about that earlier. Is that and the whole concept of I and I is that I am speaking to the I. There's no me and you. I'm speaking to the divine in you when I speak, and I'm recognizing that divinity in myself. So that's the whole concept of I and I that Rastafari use. So all of our businesses, all of our operations, we need to seek that they are crowd funded so that we build resilience, meaning if some people move away, it doesn't collapse, or we don't have this centralized. We see with Western capitalism, the wealth aggregates in a small pocket of people who become the elites, or as we would call them, the Epstein class of people who control everything. That is not a divine system. His Majesty, every speech he talked about raising the standards of living of the Ethiopian people, and doing that through providing them with education. And this is how we set the captives free, is by giving them the tools to free themselves. And this was the expansion, and this is why he's the defender of the faith, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, the minister of education, who turned his palace into a university. These are symbolic in terms of empowering the people, taking them from peasants to citizens. You know, this was the prophetic rising, and all of us have that responsibility. There's no more. I look at Dr. Winborne, he's the leader and he's going to be the sacrificial lamb by himself. No, the entire E.W.F has a responsibility to rise and to fulfill their duty, because we all have that divine within us. So that being said, Dr. Winborne, we want to just allow you to give your final sound to the global family. Your final words for this part one. We're going to bring him forward when he's launching his initiative. So make sure, if you're not subscribed, this is where the Black Conversation is having on this platform. You saw the head of the UNIA here. You saw Dr. Umar here. You saw Scholar Anthony Browder here. We're bringing all of the Black minds on this platform, so we can have those conversations that are not happening in the mainstream media, Rastafari independent, non-aligned media. So with that said, I'm calling Dr. Winborne to just give us your final words to the Black peoples of the world.
Well, I just want to start by saying I'm honored to be here on Lion Voice to share my vision and the vision of the Ethiopian World Federation with your audience here. Thank God for them. And so we encouraging each of you to, if we've said something this evening that struck a chord in you, that you would seek out to help us in this movement and building of the Ethiopian World Federation. Join a local that's in your area. Be a part of this work. Be a part of this movement. Be a part of history. We implore you to come and to join the Federation and be a part of history. Where one day, as we sit now and read history books and we read about those and the work that they've done in the past, Ross, I always say one day somebody's going to sit down and they're going to read about what we did when we had the ball in our court and how we treated it and what did we do to help advance the Black people of the world. We are living in a very interesting time. We are living in a time where, again, as I said earlier, unification is not an option. It's a must. It is the last thing that we have to do. We've developed our talent. We found ways to get money. We just got to find ways to keep it and circulate it amongst ourselves. But now is that time, and you have to ask yourself, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here during this particular time? Is there a mission for me? Is there a reason for me? Is there a purpose? What is your purposeology? You need to be studying that. Why? Again, I always ask that question, why? And I'm hoping that you will ask that question too. Thank you. It has been an honor to come and to share with you some of my ideals, to share with you some of my past. I don't get to talk about my history and where I come from
Yes.
often, and so that was good and refreshing. Maybe on part two, I can tell you some more. Uh,
Yes, we'll go
I,
deeper.
when I come back, I'll tell you about the day I died. And then we can pick
Okay.
the conversation up from there.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
and so we there are some more things that we want to talk about. I want to say thank you to Ross Kwasi for having me and to be amongst this list of honoraries and some of the names that he's mentioned. I'm proud to be here, and once again, thank you for entertaining me. God bless you, brother. Good night.
Blessings, blessings, and blessings to you and to your family. And we are praying for a successful term and that all of your vision, you achieve them through that divine power. So take care and have a good evening, Doctor. Blessings.
Blessings. Give thanks.
There you have it, family. Dr. Winborne, the president, international president of the Ethiopian World Federation. We are continuing. We're going to seal up our Pan African History Month with Reading Ras on the Front Line. Special edition. It's going to be a late night edition with Ras Sekou Tafari. We're going heavy on the Marcus Garvey, but we're not starting until about 9 p.m. I'm going to be on the road as well. Ras Sekou is going to be on the road. So we're going to make it happen. So stay tuned for that this Saturday. Reading Ras on the Front Line. Also, do remember Sunday, I joined my brethren here in Washington, D.C., Bingi Shan. He's asked I to host this event. So if you're in the DMV, I'll be hosting at Sankofa Bookstore the book signing and film. I don't have the book yet. I haven't seen the film yet. I'm in the film. I haven't seen it, so I'm looking forward to this monumental fullness. Also, Atlanta, Naya Bingio, Empress Janana, the Global Rastafari Conference Incorporated. They have two events, major events coming up. They're going to be advertising with us, so make sure you stay in tune with what they have going on. They have the first year anniversary Ethiopian and the Ethiopian New Year event, and then they're doing a coronation Isis banquet and award ceremony. So this is going to be powerful. So big up Empress Janana and all of the Rastafari family. If you have an event and you want to advertise with us, reach out so we can work out. We have very affordable advertising packages, and it's a way that we can feed the ecosystem. And also, it's a way that if you have an event that the global family can know what you're doing and even potentially attend or support. We're building brands here from the ground up, and that's what the media is here to do, is to bring awareness to different brands. And now is the time to get on board the ship. As you can see, the train is moving. We're nearing 100,000 subscribers. We're going to hit that. Our goal for this year, 2026, was 100,000 subscribers. We're on pace to hit that before the end of the year with the item strength. So definitely now is the time to come on board, to let your brand be known, to support the movement, to feed the ecosystem. Everything is about the economics right now as we build up our resilience. And as the president of E.W.F say, we use economic tools. You know, our money, we don't have to go out on the street and go riot, go cause, but our dollar is our tool that we can use for our empowerment and to build the things that we don't have and that we need. As we say, we're putting on our own oxygen mask before we help others, because no one is coming to save us. As the doctor said, we have people of African descent being lynched, hanging from trees, symbology. These things are happening. Different things are going on. We have to be resilient. And I'm going to see if we can get someone to talk about some of these things that are happening. Um, yes, Grassroots, as you say, share, subscribe, and support. Um, Sister Medina, Island Life, Simple Island Life, one of our ardent supporters as well. She said, I want the Lion Voice Network. Big up yourself. Um, yeah, you know what I mean? We're going to continue the journey. I love all of the items. Have a safe journey to wherever you're going. And let us continue to build together. The item are witnesses to history, Rastafari, Pan-African family rising. And we are going to be here as Rastafari independent, non-aligned media to capture the whole fullness. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
Peace and Pan-Africanism. This is Dr. Umar Ifatunde coming to you live and direct, New York City, Ethiopian World Federation 2026 conference. The time has come for the lions to tell our own story, and this is the Lion's Voice.
Lion man, Empress man, Alliance Science. Oh, 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 you're wrong. Universally unfold, be told. Oh, 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 oh. Blessed love, this is Etege Aidama, and it's time for the lioness and the lions, for I voices and stories to be told. This is the Lion's Voice, Rastafari.
We're endorsing the Lion's Voice. Big up Kwasi. Say it. Big up Kwasi. It is time for the lion to tell our own story. Yes, sir. Like this.
There is a land far, far away. There is no night. There's only day. Look into the book of life. And you will see that there's a land far, far away. Kwasi, that there's a land far, far away. Speak lion. Let's speak lion. Roll lion, roll every time.
I will never stop, hail the Most High. And I will never stop, call Rastafari. Blessed love, this is Kushite representing for the Lion's Voice. We are here to tell our own story, Rastafari.
Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, ya. Them fully guard up and them quick fi execute, ya. Now drop your guard when it come to them, ya youth, ya. The one will laugh, I'm same one of the shooter. Watching them, this is Rasta Jai representing for the Lion Voice Network. This is the time when the lion gets to tell our own story. Haile Selassie.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the Lion's Voice.
Yes, job people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I will say, hear the Lion Voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with With the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion vice, got to show the people them the life. Lion vice.